Ever been in a balloon before?
It's our first time.
Hey.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the landing!
But how will we...
The landing! Your offer's been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing!
But how will we...
The closing! TGIF. Actually, it's TGIV. Thank God it's vacation.
Okay,
Dana Mumford. It's not quite yet. Dana is ready to get out of town. It was supposed to go last week.
I am setting all new records in the multitasking world, and my brain is blowing up a little bit.
And let the whole world know that Dana's amazing and she's doing a great job, and she's got a lot on her plate today, and I'm not helping. So I'm trying to help, but I'm not, which is far from the course. So you know how it goes. Anyway, it's like a work marriage. It's all good though. But you look pretty.
It's all good.
Pretty you look today.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice. So today we have Laurie Popp. I'm excited. I'm that new camera makes me a little bit less.
Yeah, you're a little blurry. I call it your Barbara Streisand.
I feel like I need to be like a mom and like rub the camera.
Yeah, that's probably not the best thing to do right now, but we can check it out. Yeah, you're right. We do have Laurie Popp is. We know her from C21 Corporate. Dana and I went through a program called IMA. God, it had to have been what, 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years. It's been a long time.
It's much longer than that, David. I think.
I had done it up in New Jersey. I did it in New Jersey when I first came on as in the broker role, and then it's been a long time, and just an amazing individual who has great training and probably one of the most bubbly people I know, and happy, and just a joy to be around. I can't stop talking about her like she's not in the room because she's right here. Laurie is Laurie. Where are you right now? Where do you live?
Just northwest of Detroit in a little suburb called Brighton, Michigan.
And you have the most beautiful backyard. You've got a big. Puts my koi pond to shame. I love your pond, your frogs, and all that. In case you don't know, I follow Laurie on Facebook, just like we follow each other vicariously with her daughter Heather and her husband up there in the area that she mentioned that I forgot already, north of Detroit, somewhere like that, north or south. I don't know directions, but we're so glad you're here. How have you been doing?
I've been doing excellent. We've been doing the stay at home for the last couple months here, but everybody's healthy and we're still selling real estate. Marty closed 2 deals within the last couple weeks, so that was pretty cool. And Heather's still working. Heather's actually making ventilator parts. Her job's been considered essential.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
That's great.
That's awesome.
It's great on many levels. So. Hopefully we don't need them.
I don't know about Michigan geography very well at all. But are you near Midland where the dams have broken and they're having such a hard time?
We're about 1 hour south of that area. So fortunately, we haven't been impacted too much with the excessive rain that we've had. It's great for the gardens, but boy, that was horrible up there. And we have a C21 office in Midland. Century 21 Signature Realty is there. Ken Quiava, the owner, you may know him. But yep, so we're monitoring it closely.
Yeah,
we will keep them in our thoughts and prayers. That's a pretty scary situation up there. But apparently Siri wants to get involved with my conversation.
So what do you have for us today?
Oh my gosh. So when David asked if I would join you guys, I was so excited. And I thought, what would I like to hear about if I was listening to this broadcast and I'm an agent? So I love mobile apps. Mobile technology is one of my favorite things. So I pulled out, I think, about 4 or 5 of my favorite business mobile apps that are available for both Apple and Android. So I'm going to share those with you. And I'm hoping we have a little bit of time because there's another program I used to use when I was a Century 21 agent. I used to farm the FSBOs. I have a few best practices in case anyone's interested in pursuing that line of opportunity.
That would be awesome. We would love to. We would love to find out that. I mean, it's like I love. She's always prepared, ready to go.
I know.
All right. Well, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and let you share your screen here. If you want to start the sharing process, I'll put it up there, and then we will find out exactly what is going on.
Okay.
So, in the meantime, while you're doing that, Dana, I don't even know where you're going for vacation. You're going to the beach, I heard.
We're going to the beach. We are going to the Panhandle. It is a little place called Cape San Blas. It is a cape right off of the Bay of St. Joe. And so it's right by Port St. Joe and Apalachicola, and it's called Cape San Blas, and it's my happy place.
I don't know where we're going, but apparently I've been scheduled for a vacation the 3rd week of June. So, and I get to take, we're going with Clay, Jesse, and Liam. So that'll be fun.
Oh,
Vacation with a 7-year-old. I don't know if that's going to be fun or not. We'll see what happens.
yeah, fun times, fun times. All right, a few of
Laurie,
Laurie's favorite things.
Oh, good. So you see my screen. Excellent. So I'm going to go through, and if anybody wants to reach out to me afterwards, Dana, I sent you my presentation, or you can reach out to me by email. Real simple to find at lauriepop21@gmail.com. So let's get going. So I think one of the things that a lot of time we're concerned about is what if we were to lose our phone? I think that many of us would like to see it surgically attached to us so that this would never be a concern. However, a couple of years ago, I was watching Jeff Lawson on the Today Show, and he's always testing things. And he was testing this particular day, what happens when you lose your phone? Is there a way to help you retrieve it? And other than Find My Phone, which some people forget to turn on or they don't have. So what he did, what he suggested, you can do with your phone as well. So I want to give you a quick show here. This is actually my locked screen on my iPhone right now. So what Jeff's team did, they took 10 smartphones, they left them in various places, like in a restaurant, on the subway, in a store, in the backseat of a cab. 5 of the phones had no information on the locked screen. Just your simple, maybe the photograph was there. And what he did with the other 5 phones is he put what you see on the screen right now, if found, call, and this is my husband's cell phone number, so that we could get a message. What they found out is that of the phones with no identifying information, none of the 5 were returned. The ones that did have this information on here, all 5 people called and returned the phone to people. So what I'm going to share, you'll have the information too, but here's how to set up the photograph itself and to insert the text onto the photograph. And I have both directions for Apple on how to put it for your locked screen for your wallpaper, as well as Android. So Dana, you've got this information and you can get it out to everybody if you don't mind.
Wonderful.
So totally love that. And if anybody's interested, I am also including the link to the Rawson reports that gives you a little bit more information on this as well.
I love that.
All right.
I would probably put the text over my dog photo though, just because
as long as people can read it.
Yeah, I have to split it up. But if the dogs get a little jealous if I put it over, if I keep one dog on my screen for too long. So right now, yeah. I think I have Violet is up there right now. Yeah, Violet's on the screen, but I got to switch to Dash next week. So.
Well, yeah, it's hard when you have 5 dogs. I thought I remember seeing.
Yes.
So yeah, you got a lot of making sure everybody gets equal face time there.
Absolutely. All right.
Okay, so up next, one of my favorite things is this video stabilizer. So since we're all doing more and more videos on ourselves these days, I think this is a must-have for all agents, especially as you're doing a listing video tour. One of my pet peeves is to watch a shaky video where I'm beginning to think there might be a minor earthquake taking place at the same time. So this one I absolutely love. You can even take a shaky video you already filmed, and this app will smooth it out. FYI, all of the apps I'm going to show you today are free. I am very frugal. So it is Emulsio is for Apple, and Video Smoother Stabilizer is the app for Android. So really cool. Love that. Yeah, definitely check that out, because boy, if you see the before and afters, they're amazing. All right, next up, this one is a must-have for every agent, and I would actually recommend this to all my family and friends. We live by our cell phones, and I shouldn't call it a cell phone, right? This is our computer, our little handheld computer. We need to make sure that we're backing up our address books that are on our computers for a variety of reasons. But if you accidentally drop your phone in the water, or you lose it, or let's say you buy a new phone, never backed up the old phone, so the store can't import your data easily for you. So this is a great program. It's called MC Backup. There's both a version for Apple and Android. And what it will do is it will, at one single touch, this is the simplest app I've ever seen. One simple touch, you say, back up my contacts. It does it. It did, just recently, I had 2,200 contacts on my phone. I clicked on the backup button, and within, I want to 16 seconds, it was all backed up. It was ready to export in an Excel or a CSV file, and then asked, do you want me to email it to you? Yes, I do.
Never hurts to have a backup.
No, that's definitely doesn't. All right, next up, this is one I used to love when I was showing homes. Route for me. If you've now, a lot of us might be using Waze, or if you know your area real well, you might not need something like this. But when I was showing homes, we covered, because desperate business, we would cover about 3 or 4 counties, and I would be showing homes all over the place. I wanted to make sure I was going in the most direct route possible, so I wasn't backtracking or having to make unnecessary, add unnecessary mileage to my car. So this Route for me is a great app. You just input all of the addresses that you're going to show your client, and then you get to choose, do I want to go by the most efficient route, or do I want to go to the houses in the order that I put them into the app? And then it will put your map on there, and it tells you exactly how many miles in between each stop you're going to go. So it helps you set some expectations for the buyers, especially if they have antsy children, and you need to say, hey, this next house is going to be about 10 minutes away. Anybody need a McDonald's break? So a nice easy
break. You were going to say potty break.
I was. You know me better. And then I thought, well, maybe I better be a little sure.
We got only one person watching right now, so you're good. Hey, you know what? It's interesting. Our MLS has a similar type of thing, and I fought it at first, but there are times when I've got to go all over this town, and having the ability to someone at least start me off and give me an idea of which way to go, because sometimes looking on the map, it looks logical to go from point A to point B, but you don't realize that the roads in between, it makes more sense to sometimes go a different way. And
what is it on
really good for.
What is the MLS one?
The direction. It's under directions. It'll usually route it. I'm pretty sure, unless I just happen to have them in the right order when I put them into the system, because I mean, it'll take, our MLS will take this, and I don't know if you have this or not, but maybe they should. Whatever listings you have in the system, you can hit directions, and it'll put them in there, and you can drag them into the order you want, or you can put them in the order that's in there. But I use that all the time, and when I'm trying to work, long routes out, you got to figure out the time in between, because trying to schedule those properties, you do them too close together, and then you end up being behind the entire day, and it's like you run around like a chicken with your head cut off. So, but this is a cool program.
Yeah, I love this one. This one works well for me. Yep. All right, 2 more to go. My next favorite one is called PDF It All. Oh, love this program. This is a must-have. So what I have found is that a lot of times I would get a text message from someone and it would be giving me direction that might pertain to our listing agreement or to our purchase agreement. So what I needed to be able to find a way to memorialize that conversation so I could put it into my deal folder. So that's the one reason I went and got this particular program. And again, it's free. And I shouldn't say program, it's an app. So it easily will take your text messages, let's say your text message goes over several screens that you have to scroll up to see the entire conversation. You can stitch together all of that, those text messages into one nice flowing PDF document. And then that way, if you need somebody to sign it or initial it so that you've got confirmation, let's say you're working with a husband and wife and the husband says, lower the price, you do that. And then the wife comes back and says, hey, why did you do that? You got something to CYA.
But that's a great one. Oh, I'm looking that one up right now. That's really cool. Because, what do they say? They're requiring it now. They really want us to do that, don't they, Donnie?
Well, yeah, and on top of it, I love that it's the PDF because we are using .loop now extensively, and you can only put PDFs in .loop. So that's huge. I know when, the agents have something that they want to, modify the listing, modify whatever, and they have it in a JPEG form or it's a text, we always tell them, get it to a PDF. Don't know how you're going to do that, but get it to a PDF. And then upload it, and then once it's in the loop, then we deal with it. So this is exciting.
Well, think about PDF at all. Yep, PDF at all. Think if you're at a home inspection and you want to take a picture of the corroded plumbing that's going to need to be fixed by the seller, you can take that photo and then easily change it into a PDF so that everybody can sign off and you can, clearly identify the area that needs to be corrected. Just so many different ways that you could use this.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
That's a great one. I like that one. That's my favorite so far.
Oh, good. Okay, so now, well, wait a minute. Now here comes my absolute all-time favorite, David, Slide Dial. If you have not used this, all you do when you want to, so here's my scenario. I'm at a conference or I'm out showing homes. I don't have a lot of free time to return my chatty seller's phone call that they've left me a message on. I just want to get them some quick information and continue on with what I'm doing. So if I open up the Slide Dial app, it accesses your address book, and I can click on Slide Dial a contact, or if you don't have them in your address book and you just have their phone number, you do Slide Dial a number. Now, FYI, this only works on cell phones. It does not work on a landline. So then when I click on Slide Dial and I click David's name, rather than calling his cell phone and ringing it, it bypasses that part of the system, goes directly into voicemail. I leave a message, I hang up, and his cell phone at that point will then alert him that he missed a call. So this way you can leave quick, detailed messages without having to get into a long, lengthy conversation when you really don't have the time. FYI, I've also used this when I've called my mother.
I've had this now. I would caution some people not to use this on the wrong people, because I can tell when I get slide dialed sometimes, because it would like give a quick little ring and then all of a sudden it's a standard voicemail that's, hey, instead of a name, it's like, hey, sorry I missed you. Just wanted to tell you about this great deal. I'm like, I'm not doing business with you. So, but what you're talking about, I would use it for that. I mean, because we just finished a deal with somebody, a client, and definitely she would talk on and on and on.
David,
we don't. I already changed the sex from a he to a she. Now you may. Yeah.
Now that tactic's all out the window, apparently. So when my kids say, "Oh, Mom, I don't know what happened. It just went straight to your voicemail," that's not legit.
No, that is legit. That is legit. There are times I'll call you, Dana, and it goes right to your. It'll get like a fraction of a click, and then but I know that. Really. Are you messing with me? No, sometimes when AT&T or it'll ring busy and it's like, shouldn't be getting a busy tone or it shouldn't be going right to your voicemail. I always call back a second time anyway. Figure that it's me, it's important. So,
Always.
but I do that with when I do leads as well. I will call them directly, and if it goes right to their voicemail, I call again. If it goes to voicemail second time, then their phone's probably off. But rarely do people expect you to call back a second time when they're throwing you to voicemail, and you should be picking up the phone.
I like the fly dial thing. That is useful.
It is.
That's not built into all iPhones. It probably will be the new thing.
You would hope so, right? You would hope so.
I would hope so.
Okay, so those were my 5 most favorite apps that I use on a regular basis for business. So let's switch gears a little. And I wanted to share with everyone some of my best practices that I found for farming the FSBO market.
Awesome.
So here's the first thing, is that I think a lot of us are not aware of what's going on with FSBOs. What are they using for marketing? Did you know that only about 48% of them actually will put up a yard sign? The majority of them don't know how to put their listing onto the internet, let alone a FSBO website. Only 10% are actually in their homes, their information up on their social networking sites. Very few will hold an open house, and the majority, 99% of them, have no clue how to create a video for their house. So, and here, how about this? 31% don't even actively market their home. So, because we show that 9 out of 10 FSBOs, and this is from NAR, will eventually end up hiring an agent to sell their home, here's the most interesting statistic though. Only 5% of real estate agents say they are working with FSBOs. So this to me seems to be a wide open area to grow your business. So with that being...
Well, why do you think that the agents, if there's only 5%, why do you think they don't do it? I think I have an idea why.
Well, I think everybody thinks everybody else is already doing it, and they, so they think, why bother? Or people are afraid of rejection, and this can be a tough cookie to crack or to crumble. That would be the analogy, a tough cookie to crumble. So this way, I'm going to make it very easy and very simple. That this will be one of the easiest ways to build business. And even for those people that are maybe more introverts or, don't like rejection, this one sets you up so that you are never asking the FSBO to list their property. That's usually the number one mistake most agents may make. So understanding what's difficult for sale by owners to do on their own can help you understand what the pain points are. And then you can always add a little bit to your talk track about how you could help alleviate a certain task. So for sellers, here is the list of the things that they find the most challenging to do. So with that being said, though, what do you do then? How do you go about getting started? So here's my best practices. First off, the following method works best in an area that you are regularly driving through or monitoring for FSBO. So I would say pick out your farm area, whether it be a subdivision, a neighborhood, and make sure that you're consistently driving through that area so that you know the moment a FSBO sign goes up in the yard. The next thing, it's going to be very important to create trust and rapport with this person. So I'm going to give you some great ideas on how to do that. The key to all of this, though, is it's important to establish a particular day of the week and a specific time that you are regularly going to stop by that FSBO, and you'll see why in a couple slides, why this can be something that works in your favor. And then my biggest thing is always leave something of value. And let's take a look why here. So first off, on your very first visit, you might just stop in, introduce yourself, let them know, hey, I get a lot of traffic, a lot of buyers and sellers that work in this particular area. You might want to, just let them know, hey, do you see that house down the street? I listed that and we were able to sell it in 5 days. And I get a lot of clients in this particular market. And I like to make sure that I'm aware of all the homes that are currently available. Do you happen to have a flyer I might be able to share if I do find a buyer looking in this area? So I never make up that story about, oh, I've got a buyer, unless I
I
really
hate
do.
that.
I know, me
I see
too.
through that.
I think that's one of my pet peeves, along with when somebody tells you it's a multiple offer situation and you're really not sure that it is. So that's my second pet peeve. Okay. So the thing is you're not asking them to list their home right now. First, establish the trust. On the second time you go to visit, subsequent times, again, make sure you're sticking to that same day and time, and then be an information source. So here are some ideas of things that you might leave as a great piece of value. Like maybe there's a current listing down the street or in that neighborhood that's similar to theirs. Give them, I would print out the MLS sheet, obviously not one that, the public face version of the MLS sheet. Pick that out and give it to them. If they're going to sell their home, they'll sell it with or without this kind of information. So, but this makes you look favorable in their eyes. Same thing with maybe it's a sold listing. And then make sure that you're including the relative statistics, like what was the sales price? What did they originally list at? And more importantly, how many days on market before they went under contract? One of the things that I have is an actual packet of forms and documents, like for our area. So for Michigan, and I'm sure it's the same for your guys, seller's disclosure, lead-based paint disclosure, the pamphlet. Many times FSBOs have no idea that they need to supply this kind of information to a buyer. So if you give them just blank form and let them fill it out, again, you're looking like the hero in this whole scenario. Our local title company actually has a closing packet that is helpful for the sellers as well. And so I will pick up a few of those from Metropolitan and then hand those out. And then anytime I run across helpful articles, whether they're in a magazine like Riz Media or in my Realtor magazine, or I see something online, I'll usually print it out in color, make sure that it's branded, whether I'm stapling my business card to it or something else. But those are the different things. And I only give them one thing of value each time that I visit. All right, so I'm not inundating them with a lot of information because that can be overwhelming to them, but sure, dribble it out one at a time. So that's what I do. And then when you're there, ask them just, hey, how are the showings going? Are you advertising? Where are you advertising? Are you going to hold an open house? Do you know how to qualify buyers? All that kind of information. And it may be something that they're not even thinking of doing, but you're going to put that into their head, and they might be thinking, I wonder, do you do that kind of stuff? Because a lot of them have no idea what it is or how we go about doing our business. And then what happens is that think of the seller. They've gone through maybe their third or fourth weekend of either getting the house all immaculately cleaned and ready to hold an open house, and then nobody comes through. We've all been there. So, these people are going to be there as well, that they won't have anybody going through. Or think of how scary it can be for them when people come in during an open house or just call up and want to see the house. They don't know who these people are. They have no training, usually in self-defense. I mean, we've all been well schooled in how to deal with a client that raises the hair on the back of your neck, right? You don't go up the stairs or down the stairs first. Never let yourself get blocked into the house with no escape route. But our FSBOs aren't aware of all this. So they may be thinking after the third or fourth weekend, you know what? Laurie's going to swing by. She's always here Mondays at 6:30. Why don't I just go ahead and list with her? See, so that's why having that consistent day and time can work in your favor rather than randomly popping in. Always make sure you've got that listing packet ready in your car and have an updated market analysis ready too. It doesn't take much to real quickly run that numbers, but that can be extremely helpful in installing confidence in you from the FSBO. And in case you're wondering, although I don't have access to 21 online right now, did you know, I went into my husband's, because just FYI, my husband's a Century 21 affiliated agent. They have in the agent scripts library on C21 University, I've got the directions right here. You go in and there's a FSBOs section, And we've got 2 documents in there right now that you can tap into for scripts. So a lot of times script what saves people. You memorize something, then after you've internalized it, you make it your own, and you keep rattling that information off, and it becomes very natural sounding, and you're good to go. So that was what I had to share today. Now let me stop sharing and get back to the screen. Where are you guys? I've lost you.
Right here.
Here you are. Okay.
Okay, we're here. Oh yeah, you're on a different. Yeah, that's right. You're on. Yeah, welcome to our world of trying to figure out where in the world you are on the video thing. That's great information. I'm just as guilty. I'm afraid of for sale by owners. I don't know why, and I think it's a rejection because I just don't like it. But I mean, the thing is, it's really frustrating when you know you could help them and do a really good job. It's really frustrating to not feel like you, because there are people in our industry who are kind of oogie about stuff like that. They rub people the wrong way, and you don't want to be known like that. And that's what's frustrating to me, because we've all come across those agents that just don't make you feel good about being a realtor. They make you feel like you're slimy, and I don't know.
Well, and one of the things I used to find the for sale by owner would ask me, when I usually on my second visit, when I would leave something of value there, they would typically ask me, why are you doing this? I don't plan on listing with an agent. And that's when I would say, you know what, that's great. And I wish you all the success. But statistics have shown that 80% or 90% of our for sale by owners will eventually list with an agent. And I'm hoping that if that time comes for you, that you'll consider me to interview me to hire to do your job for you. So you think of that talk track.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've always told, I've always said to the agents, that just be honest, if these people really can sell their house at the highest price in the least amount of time on their own, be respectful. They're trying to save themselves money, but the statistics show us time and time again that they do eventually, a majority of them do eventually list. And hey, that's what we do for a living. So just, being real honest and upfront about it. And the other thing that I think, David, that really is the problem with most agents is they get very frustrated when they get there first, or not first, but they get there with the 5 other agents that go the first time, and they're like, oh, they're better than me, But what you don't understand is that such a small fraction of those agents will actually go back a second time, and a third time, no one goes.
For them, it's a numbers game. There are companies out there that all they do is they use Red X, they use Espresso, whatever, and they just blanket. They throw out their folder, they throw it out there, they call the first day, and they don't ever circle back.
Exactly.
The wiser person would actually wait a week and then go over there and say, hey, how was that first week? Did you get bombarded? Wasn't it great?
Right.
I'm not like that. I'm not like that at all. I would like to help you. If you have any questions, here's my card. Give me a call. I'm not looking to solicit listing right now, but so. Well, Laurie, go ahead.
As we come out of this COVID thing, and I think there's going to be a little bit of rockiness, but I think that we're going to settle down into a much more normal inventory market than we've had for several years, which has been a very low inventory market. But when we settle into that regular inventory market, that's when it becomes, we're going to see more for sale by owners who are not getting their property sold and really need that expertise and that marketing and everything that, a Century 21 professional group agent can do for them.
Oh, absolutely. Good commercial. Yay, good commercial. Logo. Okay, so, Laurie, we have a tradition here. I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but it's time for us to say goodbye. But we would love to share our tradition with you, which is where we have to dance. We have to dance it out to our end credits. So before we do it, Rachel, we're going to say goodbye and wish you all the best to you and your family up there. And stop by anytime if you have something new you want to talk to us about. by all means, please come and see us because we would love to talk to you more. Oh, there we are. All right. And we're going to say goodbye and have a great weekend and happy Memorial Day, everybody. We'll see you.
I'll miss you guys next week, but I'll be back in a week.
You're not dancing, Laurie. There it is. She's dancing like she's on camera. They can't see you now.
Woo, woo.